Hi guys and girls. Alright, so this PowerPoint is going to be looking at interventions to treat sleep disorders, and the good news is some of the information has been taken out for the 2020 study design due to COVID, so I've already taken it out of this one. So, stimulus control therapy is a type of therapy that is used for insomnia, and it's used to overcome learned associations acquired by people with insomnia to lead them to form new associations that suit sleep. So essentially you associate your bed, or you should be associating your bedroom with sleep, but because of, TV, technology, so phones and iPads and all that sort of stuff, you often use it for more than just sleeping. And that's actually going to be detrimental to your sleep, right? So we need to overcome that. And what they're trying to say is that they're trying to get you to just associate sleep or your bedroom with sleep, and that's it. Another point that may be of more interest to you is when you're actually, in an argument with your parents, you might start to associate your bedroom with feelings of anger and frustration at your parents, because every single time that you get angry at them and you storm off, you go straight into your bedroom, which tends to associate bad feelings with your bedroom and your bed. So you're engaging in activities that don't suit sleep, and the stronger the learned associations become, so the more and more you do it, the more and more time you spend watching TV or, screaming into your pillow, it actually perpetuates and increases the amount of difficulty you have in falling asleep. So stimulus control therapy aims to strengthen the bed and bedroom as cues for sleep, to weaken them as cues for behaviours that are incompatible with sleep, and to establish a regular sleep-wake schedule that is consistent with the circadian sleep-wake cycle. So it's essentially saying, all right, you only go into your bedroom to sleep. You shouldn't eat there, you shouldn't be doing your homework there, you should be just going into your bedroom to sleep. And that might mean that you get rid of technology inside your bedroom. You put your phone in the lounge room to charge at night time, which is a good idea. You're not going to listen to me, but it's a good idea. You also tend to go to bed only when you're sleepy, so you're not in bed trying to fall asleep. You're not watching television, you're not reading, you're not eating, you're not worrying in bed. You only use bed for sleep and sex, which shouldn't do that, not yet. Get out of bed if unable to fall asleep within 20 minutes, because if you haven't fallen asleep within that 20 minutes, there's a good chance you're going to lay in bed and think about other things and worry and go on your phone and all that sort of stuff. So you should probably get out of bed if you haven't fallen asleep, and return only when you're sleepy. And then set an alarm clock and actually wake up at that time. So if your alarm clock goes off at 7:30, actually get up. Don't just lay in bed and go on your phone and do all that sort of stuff, including the weekends, which you're also going to ignore me for. And don't take naps during the day. And this is pretty much what stimulus control therapy is stating. You should be only going to bed at night time, and it should only be when you're sleepy, and for nothing else, your bedroom. Alright. This is very similar to sleep hygiene education. So essentially it goes in conjunction with the stimulus control therapy and assists you to overcome insomnia and change your sleep-related activities. So it provides more information, so it makes you more aware, which is good for you guys right now, because essentially you're going through sleep education, hygiene education. You're learning more about sleep and what's important, right? So you tend to improve and maintain engage in practices that improve and maintain good sleep and full daytime alertness. So you might be changing some of your habits, making sure that your phone is nowhere near you when you're trying to sleep, going to bed when you're sleepy, not just because your parents have told you to, and I didn't say that, sorry parents. So what you should be doing is establishing a regular bedtime and rise time. So actually go to bed at that time. Actually wake up at that time. Exercise in the late afternoon or early evening, so then that way you're expending that last sense of muscle movement, and you're starting to tire yourself out. They do argue that at the moment, and this is why some people are going through insomnia, is because they're not as active as what they would be if they weren't in isolation. There is a good chance that they're sleeping less because they're not using their body as much. But that's just a theory. You can take a hot bath a couple of hours before bedtime, establish a comfortable sleep environment, so your bed and bedding. Sometimes it really depends on, your sheets, whether or not you're hot or cold, that sort of stuff. Sleep in a dark, quiet area that is temperature and humidity controlled. You don't want to be in bed and you're boiling and it's really terrible. Or too cold is another one. Establishing a pre-sleep routine that you use every night before sleep. So it'll be something that you do at every point. So at this point, I put on my PJs. At this point, I brush my teeth. At this point, I brush my hair. I do this and then I do this. And it's the same every single time. And after a couple of weeks of doing this, your body automatically starts to feel sleepy when you start to do this routine. So it's good. Alright, so once again, sleep hygiene education. So you're learning how to establish a regular relaxing sleep schedule and bedtime routine. Associate your bed and bedroom with sleep. Avoid activities that are stimulating in the hour before bed. I would recommend, do your homework and then go to bed, but you're not going to do that. That's fine. When you cannot sleep, get up. Avoid stimulants such as caffeine, nicotine and alcohol too close to bedtime. Some studies have actually argued that you shouldn't have any caffeine within 2 to 3 hours of trying to fall asleep because you need it out of your system. Exercise can promote good sleep. It helps you to fall asleep each morning. If you want to lose weight though, you need to do it in the morning. What do you know? Food can be disruptive just before bed, especially if it's a heavy meal. So don't eat too heavy meal before bedtime. They actually say that you shouldn't eat after 5 o'clock, but yeah, you're not going to listen to that either. And then ensure adequate exposure to natural light. So when you're at, during the day and you should be awake, you should have all the curtains open. You should go outside. You should go in the garden, all that sort of stuff, especially now, right? A lot of you will have your, bedroom curtains closed and everything closed because it's cold and you want to stay cozy, but it's actually bad for your sleep patterns. You should have natural light. So as soon as you get up, open up your curtains. And this sort of comes along to bright light therapy, which is not with the other two. So bright light therapy, also called phototherapy, involves timed exposure of the eyes to intense but safe amounts of light. So when used for circadian rhythm phase disorders, such as jet lag, all that sort of stuff, the aim is to shift an individual's sleep-wake cycle to a desired schedule, typically the day-night cycle of their physical environment. The light may be sunlight or artificial, and the picture there shows the actual bright light that you can use, and they actually do sell them. Something that's got my interest at the moment, I'm contemplating buying it because at the moment so into late night shopping because I've got middle insomnia, is the fact that you can buy alarm clocks that as the alarm goes off, it increases the amount of light that it displays, so it actually starts brightening the earlier it gets. So let's say, for example, my alarm is supposed to go off at 7, right? The alarm will start showing, a certain level of brightness, and then it'll get brighter and brighter and brighter as it gets to that 7. So that's pretty cool. I want one. It should be done in order to overcome certain issues in regards to the day-night cycle being off. For some countries, let's say for example you're going up near the Arctic Circle, and Alaska's a good example. A lot of people are struggling during the long winters, and they start having what's known as seasonal affective disorder. Pretty sure that's right. Or SAD. And the reason why they're getting it is because they're constantly around, it's always dark, or not always, but it's darker than what it would be here. And because they're exposed to so much of the nighttime stimulus, that they actually start to get quite depressed. And what could actually happen is, if they included bright light therapy, they could be exposed to light during the times that it should be light. And it is a good way of setting off the Zeitgeibers, or the environmental cues, to ensure that you have a regular sleep-wake cycle. So it's essentially there to promote good sleeping habits at nighttime and being awake during the day. So, to sum up, there are numerous ways to treat sleep disorders. Stimulus control therapy, which aims to strengthen the bed and bedroom cues for sleep, to weaken them as cues for behaviours that are incompatible with sleep. Sleep hygiene education is used with stimulus control therapy, and involves providing information about practices that tend to improve and maintain good sleep and daytime alertness. So essentially with stimulus control therapy, you're actually doing it and you're strengthening the sleepy cues. And sleep hygiene education is just the information associated with it. Bright light therapy involves timed exposure of the eye to intense but safe amounts of light in order to encourage the night-day cycle for the sleep-wake cycle. So, a work exam question. When Jake presented the findings from his investigation to the company, he was asked to suggest a suitable intervention to help manage jet lag. Jake suggested the use of bright light therapy. Outline how bright light therapy could be used to help manage jet lag for the geologists. There's more to the question, but that's all you need for this section. Alright, so because it says outline and it's 2 marks, right, we know that it's talking about bright light therapy and you'll need to define it. So because it says outline how bright light therapy could be used to help manage jet lag, it's not asking you to actually define jet lag. It's asking you to define bright light therapy and how it could be used to manage jet lag. So that's your 1 mark there, your 2nd mark's there. So you could say a statement that bright light therapy involves the appropriate timing of or exposure to safe amounts of bright light with the aim of shifting or resetting the circadian rhythm. You could also state for the 2nd mark a statement of how bright light therapy, and you must mention jet lag, may be relevant to managing jet lag, either in terms of prevention by attempting to shift to the sleep-wake cycle ahead of the travel to match the new time zone. So it's pretty much saying, okay, be exposed to the light. Let's say, for example, in London it's 2 a.m. You should try to avoid all light. When it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon in London, you should try to have as much light as possible because you should still be awake, and that's before you actually go. Or it could be to reset the circadian rhythm once returned, so trying to expose yourself to as much light as possible to avoid the jet lag. Or the appropriate timing of bright light can block melatonin production to reduce drowsiness, so you're exposing your eyes to light, which then the suprachiasmatic, I think that's just the one, right, nucleus, in order to reduce the amount of melatonin that's being released when you return home, so you're staying awake when it's light. And it could instigate the release of cortisol to enhance alertness. So light actually increases cortisol. So there are lots of different ways you could answer that one. Tasks, but you know that we are doing hurdle tasks. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask.